Hola amigos, as promised, this is part two of my approach to curriculum night, and it is about being proactive and problem solving. So let's get started. One of the quotes that resonated with me and really connects to my approach this year to not only curriculum night, but in talking and reminding my students constantly about the policies, about our classroom norms, about assessment and how they're going to be graded, is those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. So year after year, I start the year with a lot of energy, and somewhere along the way, something gets lost. Like there are policies that maybe are not communicated as clearly. There's some things that aren't as transparent. And I just always found myself in these situations where I was like just constantly explaining to students and explaining to parents. And so after seriously reflecting at the end of the school year, I thought, I need to make sure that I front load these things from the beginning. So you may be a teacher where you're like, yes, this is me. I do this all the time. I'm not. I tend to want to kind of just jump into the curriculum, and I'm kind of a hippie a little bit when it comes to teaching. And so that has not been working out for me in this aspect. So I am actually going to be a little bit more structured and make sure that a lot of the problems that I saw arise throughout the school year, that I addressed them at the beginning of the year, and that we, continue to revisit them. So one of the things that I'm going to be doing differently is just taking time to explain the class assignments, the nature of class assignments, how they're done in class, the different due dates I have. So a lot of times if students were turning in work late, and we do take off points for late work, I would kind of be like, wait, how do I calculate this? So one of the things that I decided to do is I have a little rubric with a lot of the work that I give, and task completion is one of those. And I know some people are like, oh, you shouldn't do that. But you know what? It actually helps, because when we didn't do that, we had kids turning in work all times of the year. And it just like, even our new principal, she's like, yeah, you guys can't do this anymore. Like students need a hard deadline when they need to turn in work. And if it's not in by that time, then it's going to be a 0. And it really has helped them be more organized and just more serious about class. Because sometimes we know that world language class is on the bottom of their list a lot of times. And so what I have done is I've created there's sort of two dates for assignments. The date on Google Classroom, that's the date that, you're eligible for full points. And then we have a date that's in Aspen, at which point, if you turn in work like after that date, then it's going to be worth, 50 points. And if you don't turn it in, it's going to be not 50 points, sorry, 50%. And if you don't turn it in, it's going to be 40%, which is going to be our 0. So I'm just being very clear about this. There's some other things with class assignments that I have done over the years that have worked. Like I have a naming system, sort of a nomenclature for how I name assignments, and it has worked out perfectly. So I am going to keep that. It's super simple. I literally go quarter one, task 1, and then it's like a writing, reading, or speaking. And that really helps when students, when they need to make up something, or if they have a question about an assignment, I'm always like, what's the task number? And I can find it quicker. I'm also going to go over just the nature of assessment. So just kind of, quick glance at these are the summative assessments. So these are the big points. So if parents go into gradebook and they see like there's one assignment that maybe is worth 15 points. There's another assignment that's worth 30 points. Like these are our summative assessments, and I'll, say a little bit about that and just give examples of what the formative assessments are. Because sometimes, if we watch a movie in class or we watch a video, I'll have students do an exit slip, and sometimes it's graded. Sometimes it's graded, sometimes it's not. So they'll see these little points, in grade book that add points that add up. And so I want to make sure that they are totally clear as to what that is. Also, the cell phone. So I do have a cell phone hotel in my class. I've been collecting cell phones for the past 2 years, and it has worked perfectly. But I have realized that I haven't really talked to parents about this. And so I am going to spend maybe 1 minute talking about cell phones and how they're just disruptive to the environment, unfortunately, and that students are viewing harmful material. Sometimes they're taking pictures and sometimes filming other students in class, putting on social media. And I think that those experiences, because sometimes parents are like, well, what if I need to text my kid? What if this? What if that? And so I really want, hopefully, just to drive home this idea of like cell phones are disruptive. Like, please know your student lunch period, and just like, yeah, like we really need to focus on learning in the class. And we all know that if students have a cell phone in their hand, and you can be doing the most engaging lesson, most dynamic lesson there is, and students are gonna, they're these attention engineers, they know how to pull them in. So yes, I'm definitely going to talk about that. And then lastly, but certainly not least, I am going to go over how parents can, this self-serve menu for checking their students' grade, because I did have parents last year who would email me, and mostly it was mostly there were students who there were parents for whose students were not doing like really well in class, or they were doing well at one point and then it kind of fell off. And the parents would ask me to like email them like, oh, let me know what he gets on the next test. And I'm like, actually, you can do that. And this is how you do it. If you need to sign up with the office, let me put you in contact with a person who's going to help you do that. But I think more importantly, I give reasons as to why a student grade can suffer. So, low test grade, student did not submit the assignment. Sometimes if they're absent, the same code that we have for students being absent in gradebook, it's like it calculates to a 0. The difference is that a student can, depending on the circumstances, they can make that up. They can make that up. Whereas another student, let's say they have a 0 for just refusing to do work. So that's our little, our code is MSG, which means missing. And also if there's evidence of cheating. So that's another reason, which in our school, according to our school disciplinary code, it does warrant disciplinary action. So just kind of giving parents the lay of the land, because like I stated in the beginning, like I want to be very proactive and kind of face these sort of issues head on, so that throughout the school year, I can refer back to this, and that parents are informed. And lastly, but certainly not least, I go over a little bit of what the thematic units are going to be for the year. And I also tell them that that could change. So, depending on interest, I have like I call it, I have like a rotation of units. So I have lots of different units that I can choose for like level 1. And I kind of have to figure out after the first or maybe the second unit, I can kind of figure out the class. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to do my superheroes unit this year, or I'm going to do this book this year. So yeah, this is kind of like me in a nutshell. Sorry, it's 8 minutes, not 5. I'm going to really try to get these videos down. So I hope that this was helpful. Just take it with a grain of salt. Maybe you're super organized, so you can probably give me some advice. Put it in the comments, okay? Thank you. Have a great day. Ciao.